Top five, top five, top five.
Topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're doing top 5 post-apocalyptic movies in honor of Shawty back there, Furiosa. Her movie's coming out this week, so in honor of Furiosa, we're doing top 5 post-apocalyptic films. He'll tell you how our top 5's work, and then we'll get into it.
He's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4 at 3-2, 3-2. Then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both have the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, then we only talk about the movie once.
Number 5 for you boys is going to be Mad Max Dos, the Road Warrior. Whenever you see something post-apocalyptic, like in a cartoon or something, they're ripping off this movie.
You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching WrestleMania. Snoop Dogg was like, oh, that person, like, they just came out of Mad Max. Also, funny enough, side note, it has nothing to do with this video. Someone came out and they had a bunch of people with them, like, dressed up.
That's really brave of them.
And Pat McAfee, he used to be a kicker for the NFL. He does commentary. Someone said, oh, they even have a leprechaun following them to the ring. And guess what he said?
Everybody seen the leprechaun say, hey!
He said that on commentary. And I was like, Nate? I thought about you.
Yeah.
But
you waste our film.
Back to whenever you...
I don't think it's a leprechaun. That's some crackhead done climbed up a tree.
Mad Max the Road Warrior set the fucking bar. If you think of, like, spin-offs and things ripped off, you think about Lord Humongous rip-offs, you think about the leather, you think about the bikes, the dust, the wind, the desert, the badassness, the sawed-off shotguns. You think of the Road Warrior. Mm-hmm. So, I had to put it on my list because it's the standard bearer. It's iconic. I felt like it deserved a spot for sure. Number 4 for me is going to be Turbo Kid. Another thing, very Mad Max similar. Cult classic. Well, not really a cult. I guess it is a cult classic. This new came out 2014, 2015, somewhere around there.
Okay, we're thinking about different movies then.
Mid-2010s. Kid finds this superhero outfit, has to go save his girlfriend.
Wait, so they remade Turbo Kid. You've never seen the original Turbo Kid.
I guess not.
And did not know it was a thing. Okay.
Yeah, I guess not.
I remember very little. I'm pretty sure it was late 90s. It might have been early 2000s. But yes, there's an original one. I remember that I watched it, but I did not remember that it was a post-apocalyptic movie. But anyways, keep going.
Well, this one is.
Yeah.
And I think you will really like this one.
Does the inside of the suit have a face?
No, it's a motorcycle helmet.
Okay, I'll show you the original suit when we're done. It's pretty terrifying.
If you take the small amount of talent that Eli Roth has and you mix that with all the talent that Edgar Wright has, you get the style of this movie.
It's easy to sum it up.
Very good. Post-apocalyptic. By the numbers. This guy, he's got to go save his girl. And new to this hero thing, you have that. But it's so fun. This is probably the funnest post-apocalyptic movie I've ever seen. Because you have that culty pulpiness of it. But it's actually really well made. So, if you want to have a good time, throw this on. Probably haven't seen it. Which, I like seeing shit I haven't seen before. I've already seen it, but I enjoy rewatching it anyways. He hasn't seen it, but if he did saw it, I think he would like it a lot.
Probably. It's got to be better than the original Turbo Kid, so...
I can't believe you haven't seen it.
I think even young me knew that was an awful movie, but...
I don't think they're related. I think Turbo Kid is a very...
The premise that you described is the exact same.
Oh, well, maybe.
The original might be post-apocalyptic, but I just don't remember that part of it. I just remember, like, being really young and thinking... Because you're a kid, you're like, you put yourself in the shoes of every movie you watch, right? And so, like, I just remember thinking how cool it would be to find this fucking... I didn't even know what Iron Man was, but it's, like, basically, you know, a version of Iron Man's suit.
Yeah, I guess so. But the villains are very Mad Max reminiscent, so going back to that, it's very deserty too.
Oh, nice.
So check it out. It's fucking great.
Cool. So my number 5 is I Am Legend. I think we both probably did something really similar for this list, in that when we said post-apocalyptic, we put a good bit of emphasis on the post, because a lot of movies get labeled post-apocalyptic, but they're really about like present apocalypse, like it's happening then. I Am Legend gives you a lot of insight into what happened, and it wasn't really that long ago that this version of apocalypse happened, but in the main story of the film, the apocalypse has happened. He is in the post of it. He is working through it. I really, really like this movie. And it's like, it came out, at least in like the age group that I was in, it had like a lot of buzz when it came out, but critics didn't really like it. And people who knew a lot more about movies than I did at that point in time were very quick to point out that the ending wasn't very good. And then so for the longest time, it was considered not a very good movie. But lately, in the circles that I follow online and stuff, it's had this kind of like sort of resurgence. And it's not necessarily people declaring it a masterpiece or anything. It's more so like cult isn't the right word. It's almost like another iRobot for him or something, where it's like, it's not necessarily, I think it's better, definitely a better movie than iRobot, but it's like, we don't really have like the FX movie anymore, you know, right? Nobody really has cable. I mean, you might have YouTube TV or something, but like back in the day, if you didn't have the VHS, you had to know which movie channel had the movie you wanted to watch on repeat. And so I Am Legend has kind of turned into this sort of like rewatchable thing for a lot of people. I really dig it. I love the premise. And the only thing I don't like about the movie is him quoting Shrek, because I hate Shrek.
What?
But
Yeah, they don't really have like a name for like pop movies, like pop music.
yeah, that's a really good way
But
of putting it, though.
it's an everyday film.
Yeah, I get that.
It's fine. I do agree it is better than iRobot.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed it because like it blurs into like horror elements in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It has one real jump scare. It has zombies that like aren't really zombies.
I guess.
One of the reasons that I liked it so much is because I had not seen a lot of post-apocalyptic movies up until that point, so that premise was very new to me and very interesting. The fact that they thought to like say, I think it happened like a little too quick, because I don't know if it really tells us how far after like most of the population got turned into zombies, like how like time frame wise, how far after this stuff is taking place. So would an entire city be overgrown in like foliage that quickly and animals be returning to it?
Probably not.
But that was still really freaking cool to like watch him hunting in a major metropolitan area, and then have
said foliage.
I did. So yeah,
Love it.
it just introduced, like, I saw a lot of stuff on a screen that I had never seen before, and I think that's why I have like the appreciation that I have for that movie. And then number 4 for me is another movie that everyone says is a bad movie. I just don't think that it is. I really enjoy this movie, and it's The Book of Eli. Absolutely 100% cannot deny how much from Mad Max this movie went with. I mean, like, if like you could say The Book of Eli takes place in the Mad Max universe, and like other than tweaking a few things, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. This looks exactly like Mad Max. But I really love the premise. I thought the twist was great. I really enjoyed Mila Kunis in this movie, which I think is one of the things that a lot of people criticize about it. But
I did not know she was in that movie.
yeah,
That's interesting. I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
but yeah, it's like, in a ways, like kind of like several Mad Max movies. It's sort of a road trip movie in a sense. But and also has like, you know, a lot to say about people abusing religion for their own personal power and things like that. So I really dug that movie. I thought it was incredibly interesting and a lot of fun. So it's my number 4.
Dope. Number 3 for you boys is going to be the original Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes. Because you don't know it's a post-apocalyptic
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
You don't know it's a post-apocalyptic movie.
until the end, where he goes on the beach and realizes Statue of Liberty is there.
Yeah.
He didn't go to a different planet. He went into the future. And
they blew it all to hell.
yeah, the planet is now run by apes. Humans have gone so far in the opposite direction. They don't even know how to speak English anymore. And it's just a really fun, different point of view on post-apocalyptic. Because you have dystopian future movies. I didn't count those. Personally, I didn't want to count zombie movies either. Because I feel like there's too many. So it's its own list.
Yeah.
So to have a different viewpoint of that, I think is great. And Planet of the Apes does it better than the small amount of this is like Mad Max films outside.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have only made one Planet of the Apes film and stopped. But they made like 7 and just kept getting rebooted. But
yeah.
Really good film. The first one. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Number 2 for my list. Since it ends and continues as one beat, I count it as one film. A Quiet Place franchise.
It's my number 1.
You finally watched them?
Huh?
Both of them?
Well, okay, so I have the first one. I've only seen the first one. But the first one is my number 1.
The second one's better, I think.
It probably is.
I think it's a rare case.
I'm going to watch it.
Oh my goodness. Well, spoiler alert. Where the first one ends, second one picks up on.
Well, yeah.
I don't think I really wanted to put this is the end. Or no.
What?
No, not this is the
Gross.
end. What's that movie called? A24 movie, Joel Edgerton.
Sorry.
Night. It's an A24 movie.
It Comes at Night.
It Comes at Night on here, but I couldn't make room, and this movie does, living in isolation better than any other. The world has ended, I'm living in isolation than this. Plus the twist on top of that, we can't make a sound.
Mm-hmm.
That adds so much tension. The filmmaking, the art, the thought process, it puts you on the edge of your seat the entire time. Something as minuscule, going to the store to buy groceries, something we do once to 3 times a week, they can be murdered by that.
It's like a life and death situation for them, yeah.
So it puts you in a different headspace with the deaths and everything. It has that heart, it has that emotion, the tension. It builds and builds and builds. The monsters are kept a secret. You don't know what they look like. It's shot really dark. Or you're in a situation where it's small, it's contained, so it makes sense the camera's this far from your face. Because you can't do a wide shot in a corn thing. What's that corn thing called? They're in the corn.
A cornfield?
No, the silo, right?
Oh, a silo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the silo. You can't do a wide shot in a fucking silo. So when those things are attacking, you don't know what the fuck they look like.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's tense. It's a masterclass of filmmaking. Mm-hmm. It's one of the best monster movies ever made. I would probably put it in my second one.
Young Frankenstein.
Fuck. Alright. I gotta stop talking. I'm confusing myself. But one of the greatest monster movies ever made. One of the best movies of the past 10 years that were a blockbuster that made a lot of money, that had quality to it. So because of that mixture of both, these films are just fucking...
It is my number one. I was like, dang, I still got my number 3 and 2 left. But my number 2 will be your number 1. So, yeah, the first time I watched Quiet Place, I was like, dang, that was a really fucking good movie. And I loved so many things about it. At first, it was almost like too on the nose for me the first time I watched it. That, oh, you can't make noise. Oh, and our main character's daughter is deaf. Like, okay, but you know what? It's a fucking movie. Like, and things like that make movies interesting, and it adds another layer in there. And I always, I very easily understood watching the movie and have always appreciated how, very clearly Krasinski has explained that really the driving force behind this movie is, him showing the lengths that a parent will go to protect their children. And now that I'm about to be a dad, this movie honestly just carries a lot more weight to it, because it's like, man, I I sympathized with that the first time I heard it, but now I can empathize with that, and I was like, fuck. Well, hopefully my son's life is just really easy, and we don't have to deal with that shit. But
we don't have to deal with monsters falling from the sky.
Hopefully. But I get it. And yeah, I mean, just to have a movie that has that few words in it, and make it that interesting and good is difficult to do, and they absolutely nailed it. And it's you genuinely are I think this movie just does such a really good job. A lot of movies that do a really good job about getting you to care about a character. This movie does a really good job of getting you to care about 4 of them. And it's you're legitimately invested in them figuring this stuff out. And then when it ends the way that it ends, it's that sucks, but I get it. And it's pretty heavy. I dig it.
Fantasy booking. If I could give one script to a director to make, obviously CGI wouldn't look very good.
Yeah.
But Spielberg, A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
80s and Spielberg.
Yeah. It would be
those moments under the waterfall, things like that.
Yeah.
Just ramp those up.
Yeah. And the only downside to that is that Spielberg does put a shit ton of sentimentality into his movies, to the point to where sometimes it in some of his...
I said 80s for a reason.
Yeah, in some of his bad movies it is corny. And so, yeah. But I could definitely see it. I think it's a good fit.
Outside of Babadook and Spielberg movies, name a better child actor performance than those 2 kids.
Yeah.
They're fucking great.
Tough. I mean, I'd have to... Yeah, I mean, my first thought would be 8th grade or something, but
Ooh, that's good.
I mean...
Mid-90s.
Yeah. But you have to go to A24 for something like that. And honestly, thinking about it, even the girls from the Florida Project, because they do such a good job of just being little girls in that movie, that I don't even really think about the fact that there's a director telling them what to do. So, but anyways, in a major picture that a mass audience has actually seen, and not these movies that we're talking about that some people who may or may not watch this would be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Then yes, I agree with you. Okay, so my number 3 is probably the movie on here that I've watched the most. At least that I know of. I Am Legend is I've caught bits and pieces of it if it's been on TV places, but I have sat down and watched this movie all the way through probably 5 times. And it's Snowpiercer. It's weird, and it's the exact kind of weird that I like.
Ew.
And also just way different than any other post-apocalyptic movie, because it's there's no monster other than people. no movie's ever done that before. But yeah, your bad guy is still just like the humans that you live with, and I guess technically the weather. But yeah, super interesting. It doesn't always make sense, but it doesn't always need to. You've still never seen this?
No.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's just really, really weird, man. And in all the best ways. And you get really good performances out of Captain America. And you get a really good performance out of Ed Harris. And I'm sure there are other people whose names I can't remember that also give very well. There are a lot of good performances.
Spencer.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was trying to think if I knew there's a like a drunken Asian man character, and I'm trying to remember if he's someone that I would know or not. But if I look him up, maybe I'll remember. Anyways, really good movie, some pretty solid action, incredibly interesting premise, and the fact that I know it was a graphic novel first, but like the fact that someone invented this shit just out of their head is like insane to me. And the fact that you took something so crazy that you just made up in your head and got it turned into a very successful graphic novel, and then got that turned into a very successful movie, and then got that turned into a pretty successful TV show is just like, props to you. I don't know your name, but
Bong Joon-ho.
good job. No, like the person who like
Made it
initially, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know either.
And then my number 2, which I'm guessing is your number 1, is going to be Mad Max Fury Road.
That's a bingo.
Yeah, it's the classic. Like when you think of post-apocalyptic, I think of
Yeah.
something that looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, George Miller took a post-apocalyptic movie, an action movie. Well, let's be real, he made it an art house movie.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, for sure. Like a lot of that movie is just visuals, but it's like still storytelling through the visuals, and that's...
Motherfucker made a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And masterpiece is something you don't hear when it comes to post-apocalyptic films, action movies. So, even though I think I like Quiet Place 1 and 2 better, that's one giant story.
Mm-hmm.
Would I say that about A Quiet Place if I never seen A Quiet Place Part 2? I don't know. Because that's one film versus one film. I separate the Mad Max, Mel Gibson ones.
Sure.
Those have a style to them I don't love. They're fine movies. But Mad Max Fury Road is mouth-watering.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like he very, very much so succeeded in what Christopher Nolan is almost always trying to do. And like...
Yeah, that's perfect.
And generally succeeds in pieces of his films, but like can't, to me, just has never like completely wrapped it all together. I think a lot of people would say Inception is like the one that he did. I don't agree with that.
I'd say Dark Knight. That's the most complete big budget.
Yeah, I'll give you Dark Knight. Outside of something that's not Batman, like, you know, stuff that he either adapted from a novel or came up with his own, I think Tenet is the closest he got, but there's like, just by the virtue of the plot and the movie itself, it isn't really designed to be like super visual from top to bottom. But yeah, Miller crushed it. Having Roger Deakins really helps you make any movie really good. And yeah, I just like to take that world and bring it to life, but like literally bring it to life. I love that they went so practical with so much of this. And I just like have a really hard time believing that he didn't have to fight studios to convince them that it was worth spending the money to actually make some of the shit that's in this movie. But they did it, and it looks absolutely incredible. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I have no clue what the world would look like in real life post-nuclear holocaust. And I don't want to live in that world. But if that's what it looks like, I really fucking enjoyed living in it for, 2.5 hours or however long that movie is. It is absolutely incredible. The only reason I picked A Quiet Place over it was because, like, they're two very different movies. They are two absolutely incredible movies. And I just went with heart over art in this specific situation. Because that's how I felt 3 minutes before we made this video. So on any other day, it could have easily been Fury Road.
Well, we still have your 2 and 3, or
No, Fury Road was Snowpiercer was 3,
Okay.
Fury Road was 2, Quiet Place was 1. That's it.
That's the end of the video. Let us know in the comment section down below your top 5. Did we miss one? Did we have a wrong order? Was one too low, one too high? Let us know that in the comment section below. Scroll back up to the like button, share the video,
And then
subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.